All right. All yours, my man.
Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, when all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for Overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.
Hey guys, welcome in on a very happy Friday here, April 1st. Can't believe it. We have made it to April 1st, which means, of course, we are that much closer to crowning a national champion. College basketball still on our minds here, and we've got three guys joining us today. You know them well. They've joined us all college basketball season long. Is Tony Mejia in the house, Adam Trigger, Tony Finn here to see if we can't figure out the best way to approach these remaining games. Obviously, the Final Four. We've got another one coming up, in fact, tonight for the Basketball Classic. And Mejia, what do you got locked and loaded for us over at WagerTalk.com? What do you hold on to?
Well, certainly there will be Final Four packages for Saturday. And, hey, everybody gets to hop in on $9 Monday for the national championship pick. So that'll be great for all our users and clients. And NBA hit back-to-back 5% to close out March. So we're excited about that and looking forward to April in the playoffs mid-month.
Yeah, no, amen. Let's get it going here. Trig, Birdie tells me you might have some sort of 5% play still on college hoops. I know you nailed congratulations, Xavier. Cha-ching, my friend. You got one again up there locked and loaded tonight for us?
Yep, I have 5% play in the Basketball Classic final tonight between Coastal Carolina and Fresno State. But I'm going to give anything I do in the Final Four, I'm going to give out for free. We're going to talk about those two games on this show. We're going to talk about them on my Hustle show tomorrow morning with Kelly Stewart, Drew Martin Betts, and Chris Thurston. And I'll ultimately tweet out anything I do in the Final Four. So stay tuned for that. And tonight, Korean baseball starts. I've got a couple plays up on my page right now. And the one that's up for sale is just $9. So check that out. Baseball's back. 1 a.m. Eastern, so 10 a.m. out there, Vegas, or 10 p.m. Vegas time. The rare 10 p.m. Vegas game tonight in Korea. That season starts tonight. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Great show, guys. Make sure you check out that KBO show Mondays and Thursdays with Trig and Tokyo Brandon. Great stuff there. Also great stuff here is Tony Finn in the house joining us here. Nobody is more excited about the MLB season coming up than Finn. It's one of his favorite sports, one of his most profitable sports. But you still got college hoops. You still got NBA here, Finn. What do you got for us tonight?
I have both. I have taken a position on both semi games for tomorrow, both with a play on Kansas Villanova and Duke North Carolina. One of them being a 5%er, you can get it only here at Wager Talk. Plus, got an NBA up for tonight. We're gonna have to talk a little bit. You'll talk about that in the NBA show, but the release, I put a release out because I got some intel on Memphis, and I saw this morning when I kind of retired early last night, but I got a game on play on I'll just go ahead and say it. I got to play on Phoenix. I thought the 3.5, 4, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, right in that range was going to be a value play. I wake up this morning at -7, so that game's probably going to have to be either yanked or rebundled, let's say. And it has to do with, and you'll know on the NBA show, but it has to do with Memphis just sitting everybody tonight. So we'll see how it goes. But you can get all that information right here at Wager Talk. So
it may not just be them as well, but yes, got a lot of NBA stuff coming up, but we got a lot of Final Four stuff here to break down, see which way these guys are leaning, and we're going to start with Nova. Nova taking on Kansas here, and this will be the early game tomorrow there. Kansas opened up 3.5, was high as, 5, 4.5, 5, somewhere in there. That total hovering right around that 133 mark here. So, Tony Mejia, what do you do with this here, man? Nova minus Mr. Moore there, but is it enough? Can they get it done against Kansas?
Well, they're going to need Chris Archidiakono to play a few minutes. So, blast from the past with his older brother Ryan being a fixture on Jay Wright's previous championship teams. And it's a team that's going to go 5 deep. My best bet is on one of their players stepping up, playing over level so far. But yeah, certainly Kansas has the advantage in being deeper. We'll see if Villanova is able to control the pace. They've averaged just 60 possessions per game in this tournament, and it's obviously worked out for them. And it'll be interesting to see how both teams, because they're the guinea pigs here, get acclimated to the sightlines at a football stadium, because so far this tournament has been played entirely in basketball arenas. This is at the Superdome in New Orleans, so it'll be a different look for both of these teams all year. I mean, you look at the venues that all Final Four teams have played. It's been exclusively in basketball stadiums, even at in Vegas. That's a normal looking arena. This is going to be a completely different look. We'll see who gets acclimated first. And then with these two teams, Kansas likes to go a little faster, but they do the rock chalk stuff late in games if they have it in control. So they're very capable of milking a shot clock. Villanova, they want to take a shot inside the final 5-8 seconds of the clock, and especially now with a shorthanded roster, they're going to want to shorten the game. So potentially the under is a look in that first game, maybe even in the first half, considering game situations could affect the second half. And then I noticed that the number has actually risen despite most people coming in on the under. So we've got a little reverse line movement there. But certainly Kansas, the bigger team. They've got McCormick and Lightfoot that they'll be able to dump the ball to inside and make Villanova make some decisions as to whether to foul or not. So that'll be very interesting to see how that first half unfolds in New Orleans.
All right, good stuff there. What do you think here, Trig? How are you going to approach Nova sans more here? The numbers, when you dive into them, not offensively at least, not a whole lot of difference here. Who do you think has the edge in this matchup?
Well, Joe, I like Kansas here. I'm actually a little annoyed that Moore got hurt and is out, because I think I would have preferred Kansas at like -1 or -1.5, which I could have money lined at like -125 with Moore. With him out, roughly, a 3-point move. Now it's -4, and unfortunately, Jay Wright is probably the better coach, and he's probably able to put up a game plan together to make Moore being out not as big of a deal. With that being said, I still do think it's a big deal for Villanova here. With him out, it gives them virtually no productivity off their bench. Obviously, they still have guys that they can, throw in and hope they step up in this game. But the reality of it is that they're going to be deploying a bench that's produced little to nothing this whole year. Whereas you've got Kansas, they can bring a guy like Remy Martin in off the bench, Devon Coleman Lands. They're playing 9 guys, and their 9 guys are legitimate, that they're going to run out there in this game. So, foul trouble could be an issue for Villanova. And he got in foul trouble in the second half against Kansas. Kansas blew them away by 26 points. if Villanova's in foul trouble here, I don't really know how they handle that. And Kansas certainly has the size, the athleticism to get Villanova into foul trouble. What it comes down to for me, though, is I think the depth's going to be an issue. I don't see, even in a slower game, which Villanova is going to try to slow this down as much as they can. I don't know where the Villanova points come from. You go back to Villanova's win over Houston. Villanova a little fortunate that Houston, just could not hit anything from distance. I know some of that has to do with Villanova defense, but man, 1 for 20. A couple of those threes fall, and we're probably looking at a Houston Kansas matchup here, not Villanova Kansas. So I like Kansas to win. I haven't bet it yet. I'll have to convince myself within the next day or so if I can stomach laying the 4 points in this game. But in my opinion, it's not. Kansas is the better side. I think they win, and I'm still determining, how I'm going to bet it, if I'm going to lay the points. But I will absolutely tweet that out and follow up with exactly what I do.
So, Finn, let me approach it this way for you. Give me the name of 2 guys here, maybe even from a prop betting perspective, who's got to have the game for Villanova to win, and which one of the Kansas superstars is going to have a game if they're going to win?
Well, I think it's a great question, Joe, because I think Villanova has to be a complete collective effort from them. I don't know that one guy stands out, unless it's Gillespie up top, being the top engineer there and conducting or being the conductor of a game that's going to be tough for them. Trigg just spelled it out really. When you're only running a 6-man rotation and you lose one of those guys. That said, these championship games, these big dance games, are a little different. Where depth, I've never put depth into the formula, except for maybe this one where there is no depth because timeouts are longer. It's not like you're playing back-to-back games in conference postseason tournaments. This is the one game in the big dance that I think is probably the most important, or the best coach or the coaching staff has some edge because they have such an extended period of time to prepare for their opponent, right? In this case, really, the truth is this, and that is, if I talk to 10 guys who cover the Jayhawks now, and I used to cover the Big 12, it's been years and years, back in 2008 when they won that championship, they all, to a man, said that you should expect Self to be running in this game. Forcing the pace, even in situations where it didn't call for it. Maybe what you would say basically is kind of a desperate look, but they definitely want to run Nova. They definitely want to play at tempo because, as Trigg said, the depth on this team, they can go a lot deeper than Villanova can. And in a nutshell, there's 100 advantages for Kansas. There's one advantage for Nova that is unmistakable. And this game's close at the end, guys, and one team's playing to hold a lead, or one team's playing to try to reconnect with the lead or a tie or get this thing down to a 1-possession last-second game. You have to give Nova the advantage. Put them on the line, they don't miss. They do not miss free throws. So that said, who do you like here? You're supposed to like Kansas, and I like Kansas especially when they went from 6-player rotation to a 5-player rotation.
Going to be an interesting one, guys, and that's going to be the first game on the board there. So we're going to see because the nightcap is going to be just as fun as we get ready for the battle between Duke and North Carolina. Is this it for Coach K? Is this his final game? North Carolina certainly hopes so. This, too, hovering around that 4 number there, although the total has creeped up a little bit from the open, 150, 151, somewhere in that ballpark, Trigg. So, what is it? Does North Carolina, they've already done it. They've already beaten them. Can they do it again 2 times in a row?
No, I don't think North Carolina can. And very similar to the last matchup, I like Duke here. And I'll have to figure out within the next day or so if I can stomach laying the 4 points in this game, because I do think Duke wins. I think Duke has an advantage at essentially every position on the floor. And one of the things that has really impressed me with Duke, since I would say down the stretch in that Michigan State game, is they just have shot makers and individual talent that seems to exceed anything else I've seen left in this tournament. I'll just put something into perspective. If Texas Tech or Arkansas were playing this weekend against any of the other three teams, I'd probably be backing them. So in my opinion, Duke's last weekend was harder than anyone's to get to this point, having to beat Texas Tech and Arkansas, two teams I was really high on going into last weekend. I don't think, North Carolina obviously blew them out. Everyone knows this at this point. They ruined the Coach K finale, got the win. But if anything, I would look to Duke to have a little of revenge there. And I go back to that game, and Duke just laid an egg. I mean, they got out-rebounded, which I don't think you're going to see here. In my opinion, it would take a perfect game for North Carolina to beat Duke in this game, in this spot. I think Duke has advantages at basically every position. So if you shut one guy down, they've got other guys that can step up. I just think there's a big gulf in between these two teams, a big gap. And I think it's being minimized by the media sort of hyping this up like it's the game of the century. Duke and North Carolina in the Final Four. I think the line is short, so I'm definitely looking towards Duke. And if I get to the window with one of these against the spread, it will probably be Duke -4 against North Carolina.
All right, good stuff there. What do you think, Mejia? Duke, Coach K, they send him off. Can he get to the final, or does North Carolina make this the most difficult thing of the year?
I mean, certainly Coach K could lose this game. It's going to be up to how Jeremy Roach plays at the guard position. Respectfully, I disagree with Trigg in terms of Jeremy Roach at the point against either R.J. Davis or Caleb Love. I don't think that's a mismatch. In fact, that's an advantage for North Carolina. Roach has been an enigma also, throughout his career, and for that matter, so has Davis and Love. But they have figured some things out over the course of the season, and that's why UNC got off to such a slow start. Now they're playing R.J. Davis as more of the point and Caleb Love off the ball. And Love obviously got hot at the right time to beat UCLA. That's really been the one of the more dangerous spots that Carolina has found themselves in this tournament. And they beat Baylor in overtime. So, I mean, this is a team that's really stepped up. Confidence-wise, I think they're there. Nobody's stepped to bake hot in the pain in the ACC tournament, and how they're able to defend him inside and keep him from giving North Carolina second chances is going to be key to Duke. Now, we haven't seen Duke's best game, even though they beat North Carolina in Chapel Hill in February. We haven't seen Duke's best game against North Carolina. Paolo Banchero has one free throw made in 3 attempts in both games against North Carolina. So if he's able to ISO and get into the paint and get some of these guys in foul trouble, because that is where Duke has an advantage in quality depth. Neither team going to go too deep into their bench, but as far as who Coach K can turn to, it's far superior to what Hubert Davis is able to do. There's also an advantage for Duke in trying to get Brady Manick involved defensively, because he's a liability on that end. As far as the biggest one, where people will probably seek out that matchup to try to get things going. I like AJ Griffin a ton and Wendell Moore. I mean, Duke has winners. And certainly Duke is the rightful favorite in this game, but North Carolina can definitely win. It's going to depend on R.J. Davis and Caleb Love getting the better of Jeremy Roach and Griffin. Ironically, Griffin and Davis were high school teammates, so these guys know each other extremely well. You know how North Carolina and Duke are at Tobacco Road. Both fan bases are as up on the other one team as they are on their own, because it's such a rivalry. And I do think that the officiating factor of this game is overvalued. I don't think Coach K is going to get the benefit of the calls over Hubert Davis, and certainly that's bared out over the first 2 matchups. So, we'll see. I think also both teams will have to get acclimated shooting the ball, in the early stages of this. So, a little leery of a total in the 150s.
What do you think here, Finn? Is it you think there's going to be a lot of points in this thing? You think they know each other too well? It's got to stay under? Where do you think it goes?
Well, I think if Hubert Davis has his way, that will be a lot of points in the game, and those points will be on the scoreboard under the name of North Carolina, right? I mean, this is a team that put up numbers. They put up points. in the 90s. This is a team that definitely they're going to push the pace against Duke, and they have to play defense. There's a couple bags of magic dust, the thing you like to fairy dust you like to sprinkle around, Joe, and it's going to take a perfect game from North Carolina. What they did that final day at Cameron was amazing. When Carolina decided to play defense, guys, they held the foe to 1.05 points per possession. It's really a key number. It's really almost a magic number in this game for Carolina. Anything below 1.1 in college gives an opponent, it gives an underdog a shot, in my opinion. And Duke's 6 losses this season, they fell below that 1.1 5 of 6 times. Is North Carolina capable of defending 5 NBAers at this point, at this level, on this day, against not only the legend of Coach K and the legend of Duke and really an amazing first appearance in a tournament between these two teams after how many years, guys? And more than anything, the bias that's going to be in the media, the crowd, and possibly the referees. Tough game for North Carolina here. And if you're going to be anywhere in this game, you're either going to be in a dream state and thinking North Carolina is going to duplicate what they did in Cameron, or you're probably going to be with most people. And I mean most people I talk to, and that's laying the number with Duke here.
Duke it is. All right, guys.
Yeah.
Two great a lot of blue bloods in this crew here, but should be an interesting Final Four. One more game tonight, though, to decide a champion. This one with the Basketball Classic, as Fresno State and Coastal Carolina will do a little bit of a nice battle here. As Fresno State, you would think, I don't know, they figured out how to score and score a lot here in this tournament. They've done a great job. Southern Utah still licking their wounds here. Coastal Carolina, some believe they're lucky to be here with those last 2 shots there in their last game that took South Alabama out of the picture. But Tony Mejia, I'll come to you. I'm going to guess the Coastal Carolina team hasn't had a chance to see a lot of Mountain West competition here. What do you think of this matchup here tonight?
Oh, they got a little extra time to prepare, considering this game was supposed to be played on Thursday, and they got an overnight because, I guess, of travel issues. And that's been the big black eye for this Basketball Classic is the tournament hasn't exactly unfolded as hoped for due to travel issues. So we'll see what happens in this one. Certainly the best player on the court is going to be Orlando Robinson, likely late first-round pick for Fresno State, probably just a shade under 7 feet tall, who can step out. And Fresno makes sure he tries to touch it on every possession. So they play one of the slowest tempos in the country. I don't think Cliff Ellis is going to be able to speed them up. So it'll be interesting to see, what type of atmosphere is available to the Chanticleers at Conway. If there's a lot of support there on a Friday night, which if people get off of work early enough in Myrtle Beach, then they'll get some support. I think that'll be interesting. I've got a free pick on this at wt.buzz/TM, and I'm in on the under. I just think it's a championship game. Fresno's not going to speed things up, even though they've been better offensively in this tournament. And Coastal Carolina, I don't think, is going to do anything to get them sped up at home. So I'm looking at this being a race to 60, and I like the under of 126.5, 127.
Something Fresno State knows all about, Tony Finn. What do you think here tonight? How do you approach it? Total, side? What are you looking at?
Well, I would look at the side probably only because I think the total's kind of I think the other Tony seemed pretty confident in playing to the under here. But the one thing is that Coach Hudson he's almost reinvented this team for this tournament. I'm very familiar with this team being in the Mountain West and seeing them play. And for the entire season, they were defensive heavy. They're defense heavy. They allowed 59 points a game in a conference that had some pretty good defensive teams, as you guys know, San Diego State, et cetera, right? But there were some offensive programs that could score the ball too, and they did a good job. That's how they won. They won through defense. But in this game, that one-sided game, really, the 67-48 win over Southern Utah was a combination of not only Fresno being better offensively, of holding a pretty explosive offensive team, Southern Utah, to nothing at all, in one half of that game. So in this game, it says 16 first half points. In fact, I'm just thinking here that you got to think this offensive-minded Thunderbirds, who were missing Anthony Holland and Junior Pollard to injury, were never part of that game. Fresno is more experienced. They're more confident. They're the more talented, in truth, and they're the deeper of the two Division I programs, in my opinion. As a result, you have to be on. And you mentioned it, Joe. This is kind of a surprise to see Coastal Carolina here and how they got here, and that's why you see Fresno on top of Coastal Carolina on the bottom when they listed on our live odds boards, and that Fresno is the favorite for good reason. They're the better team. Give me Fresno minus the points.
All right, Finn likes Fresno. I'll tell you, a guy who's got the answer to this game is Adam Trigger, and it's his 5% best bet right now, locked and loaded over at WagerTalk.com, guys. So head on over there and grab it here as he is locked in to this matchup here tonight, the championship between Fresno and Coastal Carolina. He hit his best bet last night. He's looking to make it now 2 in a row. So head over there and grab it. In the meantime, let's talk some best bets here, guys. The college basketball season, it's coming to a close here, Trig. So why don't you start us off here with which one of these Final Four matchups are you leaning towards?
Yeah, so right now, I would say the stronger the two leans, and the one I think I could potentially get to the window with the best bet would probably be Duke laying the 4. That being said, I kind of look at this like last Sunday. I knew I was going to like the two favorites, Kansas, North Carolina on Sunday. I didn't know if it made sense to parlay the two money lines together. Ultimately, I decided Kansas minus the number was worth a bet. I went with Kansas. They both ended up hitting. I really do think we're going to get a Kansas Duke final. So do with that what you will. I'm not a huge fan of parlays, but you take both money lines and parlay them together. You're I think over plus money in this scenario, with both spreads being around 4 and both money lines being in the minus 190 to minus 200 range. But for just a side play again, I don't disagree with Tony when he says Caleb Love or RJ Davis may have the advantage in that point guard matchup, but I still think Duke has the advantages all over the floor. And I don't know that I can see North Carolina guarding Duke and playing the game that they need to play to win this game. Then I look at the number, and it's short enough where 4 to me looks like a number that I think Duke would cover. I prefer Arkansas to North Carolina. The spread was relatively the same, and Duke really never had a problem with that. And I would say that final score in the Duke-Arkansas game was even a little bit deceiving. That was a dominant performance by Duke throughout. So North Carolina, I'll say they're a little fortunate to be here. Was hoping Baylor would have made them pay an OT, and they didn't. Then they get, UCLA, St. Peter's, a gift of an Elite Eight opponent. So I just have Duke the far superior team. And if I'm going to bet this game, I'm just going to take my chance that Duke covers the number because I really do think they win.
All right. Love it. How about it, Finn? Which way you looking here? What game you got circled for us this week?
Well, I'm going to give you the Duke Carolina game. I'm going to play to the over 151. It's gone from, I think, an opening 149, 149.5 to about a 151 right now, which is probably about the right number. And I'm going to lean to the high side of that total for several reasons. Hubert Davis he has not shied away from how he's going to play basketball at North Carolina, despite maybe there were some times this team could have learned some lessons defensively that he cared not to teach them. They're going to run tempo. They're going to play a high-scoring brand of basketball, and he never once deviated from that format, from that scheme this year. Look, they're a top 40 in adjusted tempo, whether you're at KenPom.com, and they're number 18, I think, in adjusted offensive efficiency. They don't turn the ball over really, and they shoot the three. All that said, they have to be perfect. And running against this Duke team, I'm quite sure Coach K is going to be very prepared for Hubie Davis and what he's going to do. And I expect points in this game. I mean, the fact that they scored 95, North Carolina, that is against Marquette, 93 against Baylor, beat in overtime, and even the two low-scoring games, which was 73-66 against UCLA and 69-49 St. Peter's, et cetera, et cetera. This game, I think, takes 85 points to win. Give me the over 151.
Okay, over it is for Tony Finn. Tony Mejia, my man, give us something here we can work with. What are your what game you looking at?
Oh well, if my colleagues are correct, and we see a Duke Kansas final, then you can bet that at FanDuel right now without having to get the winner at plus 125. I mean, that's the favored matchup of I guess the winners. I don't know. You know, do the math on that if it makes sense to do that as opposed to given the money lines involved and all of that. If you don't want to lay points, if you want to do something interesting. My best bet on this show is going to be a player prop I'll likely play for clients, and it's Eric Dixon, who basically plays 22, 25 minutes per game. He starts, but is really the guy that subs out when Villanova is at their full strength, and without Justin Moore, who it bears value to say how important this guy was. He's a 3-year starter from DeMatha who knows the game extremely well. Led Nova in minutes per game, third in rebounds, second in assists, second in 3-point made and attempted. Shot 36%. So they're really missing something here, and they're going to have to find a way to make up for that absence. I think it's Eric Dixon. A 6'8", 260-pound matchup problem. Villanova's top offensive rebounder. And I think the fact that his player prop number for points is only 8.5, and he's really done well in this tournament scoring the ball. I think there's value on that play. Dixon in this tournament has only scored 6 points in each of the last 2 games. When the first 2 rounds got into double digits, he has made, despite his size, 4 of his last 6 3-pointers in this tournament. I think the versatility will be there. His total rebounds number is 6.5 as well, so you might want to dabble into that. But 8.5 points, I think he'll get there. He hasn't played more than 30 minutes, but once in this tournament. I think he'll be over 30 minutes and stay out of foul trouble here. So Eric Dixon is my guy for Villanova, even if they falter and go down against Kansas. I think he'll play a large role.
All right, good stuff there, guys. It's down to the wire here. Looks like we've got 4 games left in total here in a college basketball season. I think I'm going to go ahead and split the difference with you, Tony Finn. I'm going to take the first half under. How's that? I'm going to take the Duke, North Carolina, because it might take them just a few to get used to the New Orleans Center. Because, guys, they are playing in New Orleans for this championship matchup. So it'll be interesting, the Final Four, to see who can light who up. May take them a little while to get there. But do not forget, guys, Trig has got his 5% best bet up, locked and loaded tonight for Coastal Carolina and Fresno State. Go grab that play right now. You heard Tony Mejia tell you he's ready to go. NBA tonight, locked and loaded all weekend long. Obviously, when it comes to the hardwood, soccer, a little bit of everything going on right now. We love this time of year, not to mention baseball. And Tony Finn, the association, college, also 5% best bets this weekend ready for you. A lot of reasons to head over to WagerTalk.com. Visit these guys. Let's make it a profitable weekend. And to recap one more time, guys, Tony Mejia likes Eric Dixon over the 8.5 points here in that matchup, while Trig, he's going Duke. Coach K moves on here to the championship. Finn likes the UNC Duke over 151, and I'm going to go the other way in the first half. I'm going to say under 71, and maybe it'll take them a little longer to get into an offensive groove. That does it here, guys. We'll be back Monday there once it's all settled here. We'll have one more game left, championship game. We'll give you some final thoughts there. But until then, on behalf of the Tonys and Adam Trigger, guys, thanks for hanging with us, not only today, but all season long. In the meantime, best of luck with your plays tonight and this weekend. And we'll talk to you one more time on Monday. Good luck, guys.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers, best bet, or daily package for only $2.